What if it's like we're in the birth canal, about to be born, or in the chrysalis of a cocoon, trying to break out of the stickiness and gunkiness? We have to leave the gunk behind, though. It's been so hard treading through this heaviness, but we know we're just about to fly free. Through surrender and flow, the purge seems lighter.
In this prolonged period of like energetic upgrades for so long, like really like in tiers of amplification until getting to this point. And I feel like we're experiencing like profound moments of remembrance and connection into like deeper aspects and deeper facets of like our soul matrix.
I'm Sarah, a quantum healing guide, life coach, and teacher. Thank you so much for being here for this episode with the lovely Lona Davis, a vibrational sound healer, psycho-spiritual intuitive, and shadow worker. I'm so excited to have my favorite Lona back on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's beautiful being here. I'm on this high. I feel like
Me too. I think you've just after like lifting my spirits.
oh, I love that. I don't know. I think a couple weeks ago I was very much like, wow, I'm really drained, but I'm just on this super expansive energy where I just feel like I'm just floating along and like in a really, really expanded state, and it feels good.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
I think you've just infected me with your high frequency energy. So I'm on a high now at the moment. I literally had two naps today. That's
Wow.
how like wiped out I was. I'm not sure why. Sometimes those days happen. It's like day 21 of my cycle, so that could have a lot to do with it. And there's lots of things happening in the cosmos, I imagine.
Lots. Yeah, there's lots going on. And I think we're in, since the 1212 portal, we're in this like, well, another portal. It's like a 9-day portal time between like, the 3i Atlas frequencies coming in, which everyone is talking about. And then really the solstice, which I think is like the culmination point of just really the tiers of what we've been preparing for. Like I've been tapping into this since like, I don't know, April, May. And I'm like, something big is coming. Something is really, really moving like us towards the winter solstice. I've just been feeling that. And then it really amplified after the fall equinox. So I feel like everybody's been in such a process for the last 3 months that we're in that last final push of like the canal, the birth canal. Like that's what it feels like.
To be born.
It feels like that. It really does. It feels like there is like, I don't like to create the word division and separation, but it really does feel like there are three, there's a million timelines merging, but it feels like there's 3 very distinct kind of timelines that are kind of separating themselves. Like, have you felt that?
Yes, like I definitely feel very far away from certain things that I used to, that were more kind of in my life, or that I don't know, I just feel like I'm very far away from things that I used to not be so far away from. So yes, I can feel that. I can feel the earth dividing.
Yeah, it's like, it's palpable. It really is palpable. Like, it's such interesting times because we're in this like recalibration and release. So it's like we've been in this prolonged period of like energetic upgrades for so long, like really like in tiers of amplification until getting to this point. And I feel like we're experiencing like profound moments of remembrance and connection into like deeper aspects and deeper facets of like our soul matrix. And then simultaneously, we're accessing and healing like distorted soul fragments and self-views that like were keeping us in separation. So we're really in this weird kind of like repatterning and creating unification of all the incoming energies of our soul aspects. And it's essentially all the buried and like misaligned patternings and blockages that create dissonance or had created dissonance in the past have been like emerging for witnessing. And that process alone has been really magnifying and allowing all the layers to be seen, confronted, and then integrated, but with the intention of resolution. Like it's not like this overwhelming thing. It's coming in these like kind of flowy little waves. And I mean, this is presenting in multiple ways, like increased like emotional disturbances in your field. And like some people are in like fear and paranoia, intensified like relationship conflict with others. So mental health issues are coming to the forefront, amplified like escapism, like numbing out, like coping mechanisms, I feel like are also coming up. And even like emotional outbursts or anger or rage are coming, and people are blaming or in like a lack of self accountability one moment, and then in the other moment they're like, okay, I'm coming from this higher perspective and I'm seeing, the expressions of the extremes. Really, that's kind of the best way to describe it, like that are rising pretty much when unresolved like fear and trauma create like egoic fragmentation, so there's just this like really interesting aspect of these weird merging energies that are really like our ego struggling as it's desperately like trying to maintain and cling to its like control of these outdated like anchors and old foundational templates that just really honestly are not required anymore. Like we just don't need them. There's no space for them. It's time for them to go. And this process is overwhelming for our consciousness. We're being asked to kind of enforce the convergence of all these multiple timelines at really an unparalleled rate, and everything is quickening. I know we keep talking about this in each podcast, but there's this quickening, and it's frankly like it's uncomfortable to juggle and kind of understand. And what I found with myself, I've kind of let that go, but with others that I've been working with, it's like any resistance to this is like amplifying the discomfort. And I feel like there's a reason for these things to be coming up. We need to look at them because they need to be healed. And we're accessing, as I know you and I have spoken about multiple times, like these deep ancestral generational patterns that are coming through. And really, like, this is a time to be like coming from that bird's eye view, from that higher perspective, and really being in forgiveness and really allowing, kind of like, what is this that's coming up for me right now? Like, what does that look like? And it's not comfortable. Like, we're really like we're moving from imbalanced state, really like an imbalanced state of like seeking external need and external validation or anything really outside of ourselves. And we're being asked to embody like that self-autonomous power that we always talk about, like that comes only from your internal space. It's like know thyself, the self-governance, the self-empowerment, and really like letting go of having any of that external influence. And we can see that, like, because the people around us who are still clinging to that, we're finding like a dissonance of energy with. And that's something that I'm really seeing quite prevalently. So like, I think right now our focus really needs to be like on allowance and surrender and a willingness to like work and engage with intention in your own personal process, which looks different for everybody. So to really take the bird's eye view perspective and observe our own reactions and the actions of others with that compassion and that forgiveness. It really is a time of forgiving, because like there's no room for us to be pulling in these heavy, dense energies forward. And that's really what it feels like. We're having this purge, and this release of just, again, what is no longer serving. And also having like this humbling aspect of being willing to see with true clarity, what's ready to be released and what's no longer aligned for like what we are intentioning in the path forward, and that looks like everything that we have given energy to, like misaligned jobs or personal relationships that are no longer in resonance, and habits or vices, or, any scarcity or lack or anything that's keeping us in kind of that lower frequency. And even, I'll be honest, even it's like that 5, 10, 20-year plans that comes from that like hustle and grind culture that just doesn't have a place in the new way forward, because it's really about allowing ourselves to not know and to surrender into like, okay, all I need to know is the next step. like letting life unfold, you know, kind of like an endless painting, which gets painted with each new breaststroke. So I'm going swimming. With each new stroke of the brush, and really just like letting it turn into whatever it's meant to be. Because when we try to control and force and be like, I need to know what I'm doing in 5 years, I need to even know what I'm doing in 1 year, it's like that need to control, which you lose the opportunities, you lose that flow, you lose that openness. That's like, maybe we can create a life that is 10 times better than what we think we're able to have if we're trying to control and keep us small and keep ourselves in this kind of contained space. So really letting go of needing that 5-10 year plan, because that just comes from trying to create safety, which we can't really do right now. That's the uncomfortable part. We really can't create safety right now. So we need to be safe in knowing that we have ourselves. We're good, we're solid, wherever our life leads us. And we have to learn to really, really flow. And also, I'll say we have a really increased energy to manifest kind of almost instantly right now. And again, this is being learned how to wield that energy, because, you know, like as the saying, what is it? With great responsibility comes great power. It's like, really, with increased power comes increased responsibility. So like, how are we creating that? Like being conscious of our thoughts and our beliefs, and, you know, having patience and discernment, and really self-accountability. Because if we're not intentional with our thoughts, if we're not intentional with finding the balance, you know, self-mastery really. And again, I know I say this in almost every podcast, but it's really about like, know thyself, really know thyself, and what it is that, you know, is, I don't want to say old self and new self, but what are we trying to create in the world? What does that look like for me? What does that look like for my family? What does that look like for the people that are staying, you know, in my life? And it's really it's these kind of 3 tiers of beings. It's like, I feel like there's people that are kind of more in the, I don't like to create the separation, but this is the best way to describe it. It's like 3D timeline. Their fear and trauma, are they fighting it? You know, it's like, are they surrendering into the difficult emotions? Are they letting them take them over? You know, are they in a fear space where they're constantly watching the news, or they're constantly being fed, because there's so much happening to increase our fear, to increase the paranoia. And I mean, look at Bondi Beach, like look at things playing out in our, you know, the shooting at the university, at Brown's University. It's just like, this is the amplified aspect of what happens when there's unresolved traumas, what happens when we're not willing to sit with our own emotions. We turn it outward, and we place blame, and we place hate, and we get into all the stuff that is such low frequency that, unfortunately, a lot of this stuff needs to get worked out, you know, in the chaos. And there will be amplifications of that energy, but it's like, where are you falling on, you know, the line, the spectrum, I would say. I feel like most people are in the middle, which they're like oscillating back and forth between like old ways and new ways, and really kind of these ups and downs of the roller coasters, and being like, one moment you're just in like this crazy amazing space, and the next moment you're like crying in your room listening to old songs, you know, love songs, just like, you know, and it's okay that you're in that, because we've been in it, and we've never had a point in history where we've had this long of like this prolonged like integrating energies coming and bombarding us. And we're tired, you know, we're tired with dealing with this. And this is what I think is coming up with the solstice, is that there really is this separation that's coming from like, where do you kind of fall on the spectrum? And I'm not saying this to create fear, because I think we can always make a timeline jump. That's never, you know, like there's no definitive, like you go in this line and you go in this line. It's not that way. But our choices and our actions and what we're aligning to and what we're giving energy to is determining where we kind of fall on that spectrum. You know, we have people in the fear that are shooting people up and are coming from hate, and that are creating that division and that divide and that loss and that grief. And then we have people in the middle, which I think is where most of humanity is, when they're kind of they're good people, you know, they're good people, but they're just stuck with old habits of watching the news and being on social media too much, and being caught up in the fear and like, what is going to happen in our world? What is happening in our world? The politics, like everything's unfolding as these performers on the stage, you know, and And then we have, what would be the 5D timeline where people are just not accessing anything on social media, not engaging with the news, not engaging in fear, and really just sitting with themselves in that process and really, really just grounding in. It's all the same practices we always talk about, like we are shifting in ways that we have never seen before, and it's an expedited process. So our practices are crucial right now. It really is, because we have a new structure of consciousness integrating in. And how does that look? We don't know. That's the uncomfortable part, but that's why we have to get comfortable in the discomfort, because the only place we can really find our way back to is grounded within ourselves. So grounding is the number one thing right now. If anybody is struggling out there and they need some access to what does ground, it's just like be in nature as much as you can, and stillness, being with your breath. What is your breath showing you? Your breath tells you how you're breathing in life. It tells you if you're breathing in life, if you're just coming from this existing mentality, or if you're really taking the moments to connect in with, where am I at right now? Your breath tells you everything. And being kind to yourself, being kind to others, removing the judgment aspects that are very evidently being placed out there to amplify our negative emotions. And please turn off the news and remove yourself from social media platforms that are just perpetuating that, because there's a lot of things in play that are trying to pull people into those narratives, which will continue to amplify those feelings. And taking care of our nervous system is huge right now too, really, really honoring the nervous system and really providing a place of safety amongst the chaos that we can't really get away from. We're in the world and we're here incarnated at this time to be in it and in that transition. So taking care of ourselves is really one of the only things we have control over is our decisions and our choices. So drinking plenty of water, writing down your dreams. The dream time right now is so vivid. There is so much coming through from our subconscious, and our guides and our angels. Everybody is working so much on our physical body, on our energy body, to help us clear as much as we can to integrate these energies in, because there's a lot of fragmentation happening because people are not able to receive the energies in, and they're struggling with that physical ailment. So, and really one thing I do want to highlight is like really enjoying time with loved ones. Like, there will be many people leaving over the next few years. So like, say the things that you want to say, don't leave anything left unsaid. Really create those memories, have those difficult conversations. Really, really, and I'm getting goosebumps as I'm talking about this, because I can see that there will be a lot of beings departing that aren't really meant to be here for the really intense aspects of this transition. So I would really recommend, I'm getting so many goosebumps right now, where it really is. It's like, say the things you need to say, spend the time with the loved ones, create those memories, have those difficult conversations, and really, do the hard thing. That's something that has been coming up a lot. The things that we don't want to do, the things that we're pushing away, the things that we press down, it's give yourself over to doing the hard thing. It's not about what's easy right now. It's about what's in alignment. And I feel that people are in a space now where they're recognizing something's going on, even if they're still asleep, and they're not awake yet. There's something going on, and they can't quite pinpoint it, and they won't be able to. But there's some aspect of our souls that are more open to receive difficult conversations right now, that are more open and emotionally available. And there may be reactions. There may be people who do not receive it well, but their soul will receive it well. And I think it's important that we recognize that there is loss coming, and that there are moments where there is a letting go that is coming. Parts of ourself, parts of like loved ones and relationships, everything that we felt was keeping us safe, like we will lose people coming up. So I think it's really important that we make an effort, especially over the holidays right now, because this time brings up a lot for people, and it really highlights, the loss that has already come, where you have lost loved ones and we're over the holidays, that's amplified. But it also gives us a moment to really spend time, valuable time, creating the memories with our loved ones, because we don't know what's coming, and we don't know where we're going to be, because I feel like so many people have no idea how different their life is going to be even in a few years, and maybe living in another country or not accessible or, closed off from people. And I think it's really important that while we still have the freedoms, and I'm not trying to create any fear with this, but there are some unknowns coming and some, intense weathers that are happening. And we can talk about that at another time. But over the holidays, it's really important that we just create those memories, have those conversations, and really, really feel like when we leave our loved ones, and, because people are traveling far and, they're flying, and it's just like really get into maybe the things that we were scared to bring up, or the things from childhood that bothered us, or the things that are coming up that we're looking at that's like, oh, I thought I healed that, or I thought that was something that didn't really bother me, but clearly it is, because it's coming up and the universe is putting it right in my face to be like, hey, deal with this.
Yeah.
So that would be my recommendation. And I know you're traveling home to see your family too, and I actually feel like Ireland and Christmas would be just pure magic, Sarah. Like,
you're more than welcome to come.
I would love to. I got to spend time with my family, because I know I'm going to be going somewhere. I just have no idea. And I don't know. It feels like this one's going to be significant. Mm-hmm. Like, it feels like something about this year is a year we're going to look back on and remember. Yeah. That it just feels that way, because I think so much is changing. And this is a time when we are really, because everything's so amplified, it's a time when we have the ability still to spend the time with the loved ones that are still here. So, yeah.
The word that's coming to my mind and what I'm feeling in my heart is gratitude. I think if we have the time, and I know it's kind of like cliche at this stage to kind of like, be grateful, but it actually is really important right now, especially when we're around our loved ones and even the people who have been difficult in our lives. Even to be trying grateful for those hard times or the growth that we've learned through the difficult people in our lives as well, even though it's hard.
I agree with you. And from the higher perspective of that, the bird's eye view is, the difficult people in my life, I give gratitude for all the time, because they are difficult. Mm-hmm. And we charted them to be difficult because, and really, when you really look at that, it's like, wow, you chose to be in a position where you knew it would be difficult with me, so I could learn and so you could learn. So we have to have gratitude for those people, because it's not easy to be the villain, or to teach us shadow lessons. And mm-hmm. we are that way for some people, and they are for us too. But I think those are our greatest teachers, mm-hmm. truly.
Yeah. And I've been listening to the angel Raphael, Kelly Kolodny, recently, and she's been talking about gratitude for the last few weeks as well. And she says similar things, just gratitude for the little things that we have in our life in order for us to step out of the fear as well. It kind of lifts our frequency. So not only is it good to be grateful for our family members, but also for the little things to help us step out of fear if we're in fear.
Agreed. Yeah. And it's those small things, I think, that are the most important, mm-hmm. that bring us back into that balanced space to be like, oh, well, there's all this stuff going on externally, but I can still go home and have my favorite mug of whatever that is that's comforting, or the small things, or just those shared moments with loved ones, or just the small, simple things that I feel like those are the most lasting. Mm-hmm. When you think back to times, when people pass and things transition, it's like, it's those little things. It's how we felt in those moments. It was the feeling, and not so much, things, or, things we accumulated, or not even accomplishments. It's those moments with people. It's that feeling about sharing something and co-creating that moment that's special.
Mm-hmm. This kind of relates to this card that came out just before we started, which is like unconditional love, Arcturus.
I love it.
So like
parallel too. The card says parallel. I love this.
It's fairly resonative, isn't it?
I couldn't. Yeah, for sure. And Arcturus, they're so lovely. They're so lovely. Their energy, it's like they're so just like they want so much to help, and they're very advanced too. So they just get it. They've been through it, and there's just so much. I love Arcturians. They're very compassionate. just very compassionate, super knowledgeable, and always wanting to help. I feel like probably out of almost all beings that I've connected to, they're probably the most balanced in unconditional love. So that card is perfect.
Yeah.
Because that's what we need right now. No judgment, just letting go and just like letting people be where they're at, you know?
Yeah. And what's coming to my mind is if somebody finds it difficult to have unconditional love or gratitude for somebody, focus on little things that you like about them. Oh, he has nice hair today. Or she can cook. She can cook okay. And that kind of builds momentum.
She can cook okay.
Yeah. The Christmas dinner isn't that bad, actually.
You're right, because that's what shifts the frequency to a higher vibration. Truly. Yeah. Because we spend so much time focused on like, oh, I didn't like that. But again, that's just a shift of perspective. Because when we think back to memories, we don't really think about, unless they were really the villain in our life, you know, we don't really focus on them like, oh, I didn't like that time where they were rude. We focus on how we miss their frequency, their energy, the vibration that we had together and we co-created. So I agree with you. I think that's a beautiful trick of just shifting it, you know, and we can always find things that are beautiful about others. Everybody has beauty.
Yeah. And this is also really important for ourselves as well, to have unconditional love for ourselves. And the same, if we find it difficult to not love ourselves, we can find few things that we like about ourselves and then let that momentum build. I think that's what the message is from the Arcturus, to try to have unconditional love for ourselves first, and then it kind of ripples out.
I agree, because it starts with us. Everything that we are, because our external is a representation of our internal. Like, you know, everything in balance, it ripples out. So if we can't love ourselves, if we struggle with finding aspects that we love, then that we need to sit with. That's you know, if we have a really hard time looking at ourselves in the mirror, looking in our own eyes and saying, you know, I love you to ourselves, we have to really be conscious of like, where does that come from? You know, because if we can't love ourselves, we can't truly fully love others. It starts with ourselves. So yeah, unconditional love is something that our hearts know how to do already, but we unlearn that when we're here because we put conditions on everything in this matrix. So when we can let go of everything being conditional and just, again, it comes back to accepting people where they're at, accepting people as they are, just let people be and try and meet them there without trying to change them or fix them. Because I'm like, we're perfect in our expression of where we're at in this moment. And when we recognize that, we can always find beauty in others. We can always find beauty in everything because it's right there. Even in nature, nature is beautiful. It's a perfect representation of beauty. And it's simplicity that I feel gets lost in the busyness and the goings on all the time, because it's just, there's so much happening and it's so chaotic. But it's kind of like finding that eye of the storm, that calmness in the middle when everything else is churning around you, and just being like, okay, I can anchor here, I can breathe, I'm good. And that gives you the strength to carry forward each moment, each breath, because it really is about the simplicity. Yeah.
And this relates to that, living in the now.
Yes, play, the cetacean dolphin. We need to play. We need to be children. We need to find that humor, because humor is so understated, so lost right now because there's so much fear and trauma and intensity. But if we can laugh, it disarms everyone around us. You know, I don't know even the hardest person that when you hear a child laughing, that they don't laugh and it instantly shifts the vibration. Or seeing an animal being reunited with their owner, like that, just pure expression. I just love these videos. Like, that's what I watch. It's like you see people in an airport, you know, and everyone's in an airport. They're just like trying to get from A to B, and they're just like trying to get home, and they're just like in go mode. And then you just see this animal run up to their owner and like embrace them, and their tails wagging, and they're just so excited. It's like everyone around stops and takes a moment and just observes, and they're all smiling too, because you can't help it. You can't help to entrain to the energy of like unconditional love. That's what beautiful animals are here to teach us. like just take a moment. Just take a moment to be in this moment with me. And it pulls everything in around you. It's like every single person will be smiling. Even the hardest person that's just rushing will look at that and be like, they can't help but be felt, like, and brought into that moment, that embrace. Because that's a beautiful, pure expression. And children are the same way, children laughing. It's like everybody else starts laughing around because it's just this high frequency, infectious thing. And those are the priceless miracles of why we're here and why we've incarnated and what we're here to experience, is the simplicity of those exact moments.
Mm-hmm. They create magic, which will also
I actually love that one. It's really gorgeous. Yeah. And I like how there's like this ethereal aspect to it where it's like she's in one dimension and not this dimension. So she's kind of like merging dimensions and timelines. That's what it feels like we're in right now. So that's perfect. And 33, like the sacred number of 33. I love that. It's beautiful. The heaven realms.
I tried a laughter yoga class a few weeks ago. And it reminded me of what you were saying, that laughing is infectious. And it's not the actual act itself. It's just listening to other people laughing that makes you laugh, because somebody has a funny laugh. And then that just kind of gets momentum and just ripples around to everyone else. And they're just laughing at each other laughing.
That's beautiful. Yeah. That's beautiful. It's beautiful that one is able to share that fullness of self. And like if others are laughing at you, it's like an at you and with you kind of thing where they can just laugh at themselves and just have that joyous moment rather than feel self-conscious or feel like, like I don't want to be too loud. I don't want to be too expressive. It's people entrained to higher frequency, and laughter is one of the highest frequencies there is because it's just a pure expression of joy. I love that. I didn't even know there were, what did you say? It was laughter yoga. Laughter yoga. I'm going to look that up.
I'll actually leave it in the link and I'll send it to you after. But there's a guy who's actually based in America who goes around to schools and carries out workshops. He goes around, he gets around the world. Like he's quite out there.
Okay. I love this. Well, he has the right medicine because that's what it is. Like that's perfect for these times too, because I think people are forgetting to laugh. I think people forget to like just find that joy space, which is understandable, but it disarms just the intensity of everything around and it just brings you back into self. So that's beautiful. Laughter yoga. I love that.
One thing I do love, actually, the biggest thing I love about Ireland is that there's always a joke, regardless of how serious the world is, what's happening in the world or how serious things are. People are always going to be laughing their heads off in Ireland, no matter where you go.
I love that. It's beautiful. Like we don't have that over here. People don't laugh that much. I'll be honest.
Really?
Yeah, like they're just so caught up in just stuff. Yeah, it's just I'm reminded when I'm with certain people. And I'm like, oh, wow, I'm like belly laughing. Like, I'm like, it's coming up from the deep core, and I'm just like, wow, it's been some time where I've like really like belly laughed, where people were like able to just like leave the crap at the door and be like, let's just shoot the shit and have some fun and just get into the goods, like we have to remember to do that as humans. It's very easy. And also because we entrain to like the energies around us, like, which is why it's so important to hold that pillar as the light, like walking around. Like when I go out in public, I just really, I'm like, how are you? Like with everyone, it's just not everybody. I'm not talking to everybody, but it's like, if I have a need to talk, like the cashier or somebody, it's just like, how's your day going?
Yeah.
How are you doing? And, I can also feel, they're like, they give that automatic response, good. And I'm like, I can feel sometimes like she's not good. Like, I know I can read your energy. You're not good. I'll just say something little jokey and like just something to like shift the energy. And I think they're just like, they're always caught off guard because they're just like, oh, somebody's like actually like inquiring about something, or just like that nicety exchange. It's like, oh, like it's taking that moment, not rushing to the next thing or this busy energy. And it shifts people instantly. And I've heard, even as I'm walking away, like they'll be like, how are you, to the next person coming in, like it shifts it. And that just, it's like this kind of like domino effect where Like we can shift that energy. We just have that ability. And it's so just those little things, those little things of just trying to make somebody's day better, you know?
I love those little random acts of kindness.
Agreed.
And you're right, it's a domino effect. Just like everything we do, all the healing that we do is literally a ripple effect, a domino effect out into the world.
Fully, yeah, because we're the ripple, right? Like the frequency we hold. And this is the thing, it's like if you are operating from a higher frequency, when you move into a space where everything is lower frequency, or people are just really in it, you have the ability to shift that, because where you're at, you ripple that out around you. And there's going to be people that won't move into that energy with you, but it's like people, their souls are desperately wanting the higher frequency, because there's also all this, like, I just walk around and I see people with just this cloud around them because there's all these high frequency codes trying to come in that their body can't handle. So it's just like this discombobulated energy, and like, which is why the highs and lows are happening, and that's okay. I think it'll start dissipating soon. But it's just like when you move into a space and you can shift people to that frequency, I literally see their auric field expand out and brighten, and like there's things that are integrating deeper in that they don't even know are happening. But it's just like, it's almost like they take that sigh that it feels a little less dense. And that is just really beautiful to observe, because like they're not aware of it, and I'm not going to be like, hey, you know, I'm not going to bring that up. But it's beautiful to observe in the energy fields around where, you know, I think there's this time of year especially, people are carrying, like, it's amplified, like the losses, you know, passed on loved ones that have left. It's like, it's so amplified right now that people feel that on top of the intense frequencies of the world that are playing out in front of us. So I feel like if we could be a little extra kind this season and just really be conscious of other people's emotions and where they're at, and just, you know, be that light. Because moths are drawn to the light. Not that I'm calling other people moths, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just like, be that lighthouse, I guess you can say, because it's like you never know how you're affecting somebody around you. So yeah.
I do love this time of the year because some people do go out of their way. I have a friend in Ireland, and she set up a charity called Merry Little Santa, and she's been doing it for a few years, and she basically helps the homeless get a present on Christmas Day from Santa. And she's raised like thousands. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger every year. And you only have to donate like a voucher for this toy store for 10 or 20 euros. And then she gets around to all the homeless people in Dublin.
That is beautiful. Yes, I love to hear this. I love to hear this. That would just shift somebody's day so much, and it's such a small thing. Like, that's a really beautiful thing she's doing.
I'll leave that link in the show notes as well, actually. But I imagine there's lots of things happening like that in Canada and America as well.
I think so too. But still, it's if you can leave it in the show notes, that would be amazing, because I mean, it's a time to give right now. It's a time to give.
Have you been tapping into Three Eye Atlas?
Yes. There's a lot going on. I'm like, there's a lot of distortion. There's so many different perspectives of what's going on with Three Eye Atlas right now, but which I think is interesting. And it's very convoluted in it because all the energies are converging. But really, what's happening with Three Eye Atlas and one's own perspective as to what that is what's determining how it affects you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So what you believe, like there's some people that think that Three Eye Atlas has beings on it that are going to come and literally destroy, or that are like fighters, or that are coming for nefarious purposes, which that's not what I've tapped into personally. But again, I think it's very indicative of kind of like the three separating timelines that are happening right now, where people are fearful. And if you're getting caught up in it's like whatever you think is. And really, the basis of the Three Eye Atlas is like it's coming in to bring more light codes, to create more of like, where do you fall on the spectrum of your viewpoints? What are you aligning to? Where's your frequency at? And I think how we feel about Three Eye Atlas and what we think that is and how we're connecting to it is kind of a barometer as to where we fall on the spectrum of like ascension, if that makes sense. Where we are connecting into the frequencies, I can connect in and feel the actual frequencies, and I don't feel anything nefarious at all. I personally believe that there are guardians, like very high frequency beings that are operating from there, from multiple star systems that have merged their energies together, that are here to bring us higher activation codes. It's not a coincidence, which I don't believe in anyways, but for that to be coming like 2 days prior to our winter solstice, which we have been preparing for energetically. There's a reason why we have this mass purge that's going on. And this 12/12 portal this year, like something is really happening. Like it's kind of like this prep, like make sure you're good, make sure you're clearing, make sure you're really doing the work to prepare for these frequencies coming in. So I do believe that the Three Eye Atlas is connected in some ways to the codes coming in on the solstice, personally. But I also think that there's so many different narratives and everybody has different ideas. And now they've seen that there are kind of like 9 guardianships that are around Three Eye Atlas. Also, the frequency is shifted in the output of the colors. Like when it first came in, we saw it was red. Right. And then mostly I feel like it's been like emerald green, because I've tapped into emerald order energy on there, which I'm connected to. And I can feel that probably more prevalent than others because that's what my lineage is. But there's other frequencies on there. Like I can feel Syrian frequency. I can feel Andromedan. I can feel Arcturian. I can feel Palladian a little bit, not too much Palladian. There's a lot of Arcturian energy on there. Essentially, they're convalescing from my understanding, and also like literally god world beings, like ascension master beings that are like the real ascended masters, not the ones masquerading from the 4th dimension, like the real ones that are higher up in, like, you know, between 13D and 15D, because our time matrix is 15 dimensions. So going up, we have different access to different things. I think they are between 13 to 15D, which means that they are the ones who govern our time matrix and are activating whatever frequencies we are able to integrate at the time of where we're at right now, which is why I think there's been such a push and such a movement to heal as much as we possibly can. I know everyone's guides, every single client I tap into, it's like their guides are like furiously working on their energies. They're having crazy dreams. They're having all kinds of weird physical ascension symptoms. And because it's just, there's so much help. There is so much beautiful, beautiful support for this time that I don't think us as humans can really, really fully understand, because we have prepared many lifetimes for what we're in right now in this lifetime. And where we are within this lifetime, we have prepared for exactly the moment we are in right now. And the ever unfolding aspects of what that looks like within our world to come. And I think these frequencies coming in with the solstice, the Three Eye Atlas, are really determining where we fall on the frequency spectrum, because how much work we've done is determining how much we can receive in, how many codes. And I know there's a lot of people struggling because they're in resistance to clearing themselves and to moving into those, you know, deep childhood wounds, or moving into the spaces that require us to not look away and to do the deep work. So I think we've been preparing for this time in, you know, amplified aspects, but I've been tapping into this since April. I'm like, something's coming, like, I don't know what. And then I think it was July 1st where Three Eye Atlas was first observed. And then it's just like, and of course you're going to get every variation of perspective on that. I mean, like, we all know NASA doesn't tell the truth. And like, I mean, they're still claiming it's a comet. Like, get real. Like, what are you talking about? But, you know, they're trying to create fear where they can, and that's okay. Well, it's not okay, but I mean, some people will feel comfortable within that container, and that's just not the timeline that you and I are on, or most of the people that we are connecting with. So I do know that there's a lot of fear. I do know that there's a lot of people that are worried that, like, first of all, there's from what I've tapped into, there are no aspects that would give us the indication that it's weaponized. There's no guns. There's nothing where they're outfitted for war or any conflict or any violence in any way, which certain ships do have that ability. From what I've tapped into, Three Eye Atlas does not, nor does any of the surrounding 9 ships that are kind of its, brigade of it's balancing energies. There's all these ships around that are balancing and keeping this core, whatever is contained in Three Eye Atlas, which are the high frequency codes, for my opinion. There's not one aspect on any of the ships I've tapped into that have any warheads or anything where they would instigate war or violence. So that, for me, and also energetically, I just don't feel it. So again, it's like the attempt from, our governments and everybody to create that fear, and some people will fall into that and they're in emotional distortion, but I don't feel that. I feel that the codes that we're getting in over the next, for the remainder of December, really, but especially between December 19th and the 22nd, there's like a 4-day kind of period where from my understanding, there's going to be like access into like scans going through our body. Like our nervous system, our energetic template will be scanned, and there will be kind of like a diagnosis as to where we are in our ascension process. And everybody's in a different space, and no one's better or worse and more along than the other. It's just how much work have we done up to this point, and how whatever our maximum capacity is to integrate these codes in is what will be given. And that's what I keep feeling over and over. And we will not be given more than we can handle. That's why we kind of get this little scan, I guess is the best way I can describe it, because I see almost like this laser beam coming down and going through our energy body, not in a bad way, but it's almost like it's assimilating and connecting into like our vitals, like where's our breathing, where do we have densities in our body? Is there imbalances? How healthy are our organs? Where is our brain functioning at, and it's just going to scan, and wherever it can bring in energies that will help us clear and balance and move into a higher light body, we will be given those codes. So that's my understanding. What have you tapped into with this? Like, what are you feeling about it?
To be honest, there's so much of everything happening at the moment. I've been sitting in stillness. Yes. Literally. I've been just going in. I've been trying to be as still in silence as much as possible, breathing in and breathing out ease, and singing.
Yes, I love to hear this. And you got a crystal harp.
It's on the way.
Oh, I'm so excited to hear that.
I have a little thumb drum that I've been learning as well. Those, they're kind of, it's like this, look. I have a little
a hand pan. Those are amazing.
I love them.
They're amazing. I want to get a big one. That's like on my list of like top 3 instruments that it's just like, it's otherworldly. It's like you're playing a little spaceship. Like it's the sounds are, the first time I heard that I was on the top of a castle in Portugal, and I was just looking out, and I just heard this sound wafting on the breeze. I'm like, what is that? Granted, I was like falling around a Renaissance fair. So I was just like, what is this otherworldly sound? Like, I did not know. And then I got down, it was a huge castle. I got all the way to the bottom, and there was a guy playing handpan. And since then, I've just been in love with the sound of it, because it just, to me, out of all the instruments we have on Earth, that is the most galactic, in my opinion. It just takes you into a cosmic space, but also super grounding at the same time.
Totally. It just gets straight into your soul and your heart. Yes, I remember the first time I heard that as well. Very similar experience. I was walking through a park in Madrid, and I heard this lovely sound, and I had to try and find where it was. And I was like, what is that? And it was a handpan.
Yep. It gets to your soul. Like, you feel it in your heart. It's just, there's this draw to it. It's beautifully harmonic. And also it's easy to play. Like, you can't mess it up. It's like you're hitting it, and it's like, well, quickly what doesn't sound good, but most things you put together sound good, and it just makes you feel happy. So I'm glad you got that. That's probably super grounding right now, but also connecting you into your higher aspects. So that's actually a perfect instrument to have.
It's a little bit of a higher pitch than a big handpan. A big handpan is kind of lower octaves, more grounding, and this one is kind of higher. But yes, it's definitely grounding. It connects to my heart. It calms me down instantly. Yesterday was like a very anxiety-ridden day, and just playing with that thumb drum, It just totally diffuses all anxiety. And that's something that I highly recommend. Music. We always say that. We
always say that. I'm like, you know me, it's always my go-to for everything. And yeah, I couldn't agree more. It transmutes everything. It just cuts everything. And there's times where I'm like not in a great mood and I just sing and I don't want to sing, but my higher self is like, just sing. And I'm like, I don't want to, this doesn't feel in alignment. And then as soon as I sing, like 10 seconds later, because I already know now that I do that, but it's like, it's almost like that inner child tantrum comes up. I'm like, I don't want to do that. But then when I'm in it, I'm like, oh, of course, like now I know and I don't fight it. But it really does. It's like just singing is attuned. And I know I always say it's attuned to heal our own body. So when we're feeling out of balance, it's just even like 20 seconds of a little hum, or it just shifts everything. And frequency, more and more we're going to see in new ways that like frequency and vibration are like the utmost healers, in my opinion. Like, and we're going to see that played out.
They create magic literally in our own bodies.
Yep. It's like fine tuning our own body as the instrument. It just brings the balance back and the harmonization. It's priceless, really.
So just before we wrap up, to help people prepare for the winter solstice and these new energies coming in, what would you recommend, just in a nutshell?
Pretty much everything that I always say. I would say, like, really, really, like, I'm really amplifying the message of turn the news off, stay off social media, really, really allow yourself to go into those internal moments, sit in the stillness, surround yourself with people that are higher frequency. Don't engage in conflict. Really nourish your body. Drink a lot of water, because we are purging a lot energetically, which is also exhaustive. So, and write your dreams down, because our dreams are showing us so many patternings and so many things coming up and so many unhealed aspects that are wanting to show themselves. And do it. And I would say keep a journal beside your bed, because it moves so quickly out of our memory, where if we just sit and engage with it for a moment and think about it, then that gives it room to heal. So being conscious about just allowing others to grace and compassion and non-judgment, because people are not operating from their best selves right now, and to really just be a witness for that and allow them also, but not aligning to that frequency, because we can be in a room with, say, somebody who's having a problem, or throwing a tantrum, and we can still send them love without taking that energy into our own field. So just being conscious of our energy fields, really doing things that are nourishing to our nervous system, eating grounding foods like root vegetables are really good right now. And also fasting is good as well. Like whatever your body is seeking, I would say connect with that. And we have, like, as we raise in frequency too, we need less food, because we're moving more from fully carbon-based into crystalline energy. And our bodies will not need as much food or the types of food that we have been previously accustomed to. And so allow that process to happen. Allow yourself to just don't go into habit, be conscious. Like, and I've struggled with this all year. Like my gut is just like, it will not let me put anything in there that it's just like, even a piece of chocolate, I'm like, really? Like I can't even just enjoy a simple thing. And I think it will balance itself out, but I think it's really, really forcing me to be extremely disciplined in what I'm putting in and how I feed it, because I also find myself when I'm like, I just want a little snack, or I'm feeling like I want sugar. And I'm like, what really wants to be fed here with this sugar? Like I know this isn't for my highest good. So what am I feeding here with this? And is it really for me, or is it habit, or is it because I like the taste? Like, what am I really feeding here? So being willing to let go of the things that we did find, comfort in, or we really enjoy the taste of. Other things will come in, and our taste buds are also shifting. And that's something I've noticed talking to clients and other people as well, where they're just like, something I really liked before, I don't really like now, or they crave something that's healthier, which I find really fascinating. And also don't attach to your sleep cycle, because everybody's waking up in the night everybody is like falling asleep early or needing naps in the day, as you were expressing, that we didn't before. And just let your body heal, because we need sleep. We need sleep to integrate in the new coding. We need sleep to allow, our guides to work on us, our higher aspects to work on us. Because again, we have more parts of ourself integrating into the physical. And that means we have access to more. That means we have access to more fragmented parts of ourselves, because it's not like our higher aspects are just perfectly balanced. That's not how it works. So we're taking on more while simultaneously purging the rest. So just again, softness with self, really, really focusing on the physical and the mental and balancing that, because the mental meaning practices for calming your mind, meditation, breath work, tonal vocalizing. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, toning or vocalizing, and using your voice to balance. And again, anything, salt baths are really beautiful too. It just takes the density out of your energetic body. And just again, the softness, the stillness, the quiet, the solitude, like everything that you feel nourished in. And like things are quickening, as we always talk about, but it also, like, the timelines are so weird, right? Like time makes no sense. Not at all. Like something that happened this morning could feel like 3 weeks ago, and something that happened like a year ago could feel like yesterday. And so don't attach to like the way that time used to be, because that time matrix is disintegrating as well. And so like, it's kind of like the saying, it's not a saying, but it's kind of like, when you're at a job that you dislike and you're just like, oh my God, it's only been 5 minutes and I just arrived for the shift, and it feels like an hour. And then when you're caught up in doing something creative that you love, it's like hours can go by and you forget to eat and you forget to do all these things because you're just so into it. It's like that we're going to see more of, because time, we have a relationship with time. And it's like when we build the relationship differently, time expands for us. We're not chasing time. It expands and it allows us to get everything that we need done, while also taking those still moments, taking those breaths, and really connecting into, again, the heart space, the 0 point, and really like expanding that out, because it's not linear. And when we start connecting with it in ways where we're not trying to create this construct of time from like the 3D way, everything expands out and allows us all the time that we need to accomplish the things that are most beneficial for us.
Yes, and I love that you said that are most beneficial for us, because if they're not, time's going to drag. But if it's beneficial for us, it's going to fly, and you're going to get so much done, and you don't know where the time's going.
Exactly. And that's what we're here to do, is to be in our joy space and to be creator beings, because that's what we are.
Yeah.
We're creators, and we need to give ourselves the opportunity to create, because when we create, we want to create more, and then it will expand more. And it's like, we don't have the confines and the constructs that we did growing up and up until this point. Like, so letting go of that and not clinging and holding, which our ego is really desperately trying to hold on to, these old constructs, these old ways, these old, things that kept us safe. But like, there's just no room for them anymore. There's no narrative for it anymore. So allowing that to go and just finding a new relationship, a new dance with time, you will find that expansion.
Yeah, we get to step into our magic.
I know, it's exciting. This is an exciting time. If you can look, like, I am buzzing.
Yeah.
I don't know, a lot of people are in this, but I'm like, I feel expanded. I feel like I'm like barely, actually, I'm not sleeping too bad. 2 weeks ago, I was super tired. I could walking up the stairs, I'm like, that took every ounce of energy I had.
Oh.
Just walking up this, I didn't feel bad, but I just felt like my body was just doing all these weird things. And I'm falling asleep early, and I'm waking up at 3 or 4 in the morning, and then I'm like, I'm good. Like, it's just, also in the old days, people used to go to sleep, when the sun went down, and then they would wake up in the night and do some stuff, meditate, or, cook food or whatever. And then they would go to back to bed for a few hours. And I feel like somehow we're finding our way back to those patternings where we're not sleeping straight for 8 hours. Like, I feel like there's a restructuring happening with our sleep cycles, our circadian rhythms. So I just feel expanded. I feel super high frequency. I feel like all these beautiful opportunities are coming into my life, and people are coming into my life that I've been trying to call in and intentioning and trusting. And I feel like something shifted where I don't know how this is happening or who's coming in or how this is going to be or where I'm going to be, but I know I'm going to be, and I know I'm going to meet them, and I know I'm going to create. So it didn't come in the ways that I thought, but beautiful people and opportunities that I've been intentioning and that my soul really has been waiting on and wanting for so long are finally coming in. And it just feels like it's boom, 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 boom. All these things are happening at once. And it is such a beautiful, humbling experience to just like really surrender over that trust to the universe and be like, okay, create through me, create, and I will do it. And whatever is needed, just like, I don't want to say use me because I don't like that word, but just use me as your service to others. Like I'm here to help because helping other people nourishes me. And when we get to that point in the world, and I know you're exactly the same way as I am in that, where it's like, I can't wait till we get to the point of being in a world where it's not about money exchange. It's about like, I genuinely want to help you and I know you want to help me. And we do it from the openness of our heart. Like, I can't wait for those moments because there's nothing that feeds me more than helping someone and seeing them come into their power and knowing how powerful they are and seeing beautiful things come into their life. Like, there's nothing that feeds me more, in all honesty.
Absolutely on the same page.
I know you are. And that's why we do what we do and why we're in service to others, because we can create the life we want. We can create the opportunities to come in and be willing to say yes, even though it looks a little bit different than you thought, you know, like, it's just like, we are intelligent and we created certain things in our life that as humans, we are amnesiac to. So we have to just surrender to the trust and be willing to be led and not needing, again, that 5, 10, 20-year plan, and just let go and being like, I don't need to know. I just need to know the next step. Show me the next step and when to take it and say yes to it. And then everything will unfold like the lotus flowers opening, you know, and it will lead you to probably things that we can't even imagine are coming for us. And I can't wait till humanity is in that space. And I'm just like, we're all just sharing from this creator space, which we are. That's who we are as creators.
Yes, it's happening. It is.
Exciting. It is. I'm very joyous. So
thank you so much for your amazing wisdom as always, Lona. And I hope you have the most loveliest holidays.
Thank you. You too, my friend. Enjoy Ireland.
I will. Take care.
Bye.